Welcome. Step into our world of fear. Let's journey together in pursuit of mysterious tales and dark secrets. Are you ready? Because on this channel, the suspense never ends.
Back in my senior year of high school, I worked at a local gas station to help my mom and brother with rent. It definitely wasn't the best paying job, but it helped us get by to the point where we were in a much better financial position than we were while on the job. You definitely had to deal with many issues with customers, especially during the night. These types of customers usually range from the drunk types to the more aggressive types. Thankfully, the area I worked on was relatively safe, so I mainly got people who came in wanting a beer or a midnight snack. There was this one night, however, that will never leave me. It is absolutely true, and it's something that definitely chilled me to the bone. I had been scheduled to work one night, as the person who was supposed to be working had called out. This made me annoyed, as it was supposed to be my day off, but in the end the night shifts were relatively chill. I drive over to work at around 8 p.m. and began my shift as usual by clocking. And I'd say right away several customers came in, mostly paying for a gas or a quick drink. On this night the same routine happened, and it wasn't until 11ish where people would stop coming in, as the night would die down. Fast forward till around 2 a.m. behind the counter playing Sudoku to pass time. When I see a car pulling, I think nothing of it and just assume it's probably someone wanting a snack or something. However, I then see a woman step out of the driver's side, looking up at the security camera. She seemed to be around her early 30s, wearing nothing but a sweater and some jeans. The way she stared at the camera, though, just seemed like she was watching it for no apparent reason. After a good minute, she then walks into the store and right away starts talking to herself. I couldn't really make out as to what she was saying, but if I had to say, it sounded like she was talking about a person named John the First. Just minded my business and figured that she had some sort of mental disorder. In fact, my cousin suffered from something similar, so it immediately hit close to home. She walks around seemingly cautiously around the shelves while biting her nails, as if she were worried about something. Part of me wanted to ask if she needed help, but the other part of me didn't. Eventually she casually picks up a candy bar, and I gladly ring her up while telling her the total. However, she doesn't get out of credit card or even cash, and just stands there looking dead at me while talking about this John guy. I'm not really sure what it was, but there was something about her eyes and nose that gave off such an eerie feeling, not to mention that she kind of looked like the girl from the Ring movie. After what felt like hours, I just said that she could take the candy, as I didn't want the situation to be more awkward than it already was. With that, she finally left and got in her car, driving off in what seemed like a hurry for the next 2 hours. I waited until my shift was over, when the person working after me had to come, and it was around 5 a.m. and had gone home to go to sleep, and woke up at around 12 to several missed calls from an unknown number. The thing that struck me the most was this one and only voicemail that was left. I put it on speaker and instantly became shocked when I hear the same voice of the woman repeatedly saying John louder and louder. This was followed by a very loud, high-pitched scream at the end, which made my blood run cold. It was something I've never heard before, as it didn't even sound human. I have no idea how she got my number or who John is or was. Long story short, I end up getting my number changed very quickly, where I thankfully never heard or saw her again. So I've done a lot of driving for a few years now for many different reasons. Sometimes I drive to work and sometimes just to hang out with friends on the weekends. Being 25 years old, of course, I would most of the time go out partying on the weekends, which resulted in me having to drive places. The places I'd go to were mainly bars and clubs, so sometimes I'd end up driving really long distances for that it was a weekend night, and I was driving home from one of my college friends' parties when I realized that I was low on gas. To be honest, I debated whether to get gas now or wait until tomorrow, but I knew that I'd probably forget. I pulled into one of my local gas stations down the road and filled up my car with a full tank. As I pay waiting for my car to fill up, I noticed that it's relatively quiet around. This was strange, as this gas station was pretty popular, with it being on the corner, especially for a weekend night. Once my car had been filled up, I go inside just to grab a quick snack. When I notice a gas station attendant behind the counter, I give him a quick wave and go get a snack, where I then bring it to the counter right away. I could almost tell that there was something off about this attendant. He didn't look like someone who would work at a gas station at all. What I mean by that is that in my city, gas station employees were required to wear uniforms. This guy wore a black hoodie and some sweatpants. Not wanting to pry and too tired to care, I tell him it was just the snack I wanted right away. He said $2, not even scanning the item to be sure. I pull out $2 from my wallet and hand it to him, where he just pockets the money. Confused, I tell him to have a nice night. While walking out, when I hear someone scream, "Help me!" That's when he turned to look at the attendant, where he's now pointing a gun at me, telling me to ignore that. Without hesitation, I basically storm out of the gas station, put the pump back, and floor it. All the while I'm on the phone with the police, explaining what had happened and what gas station I had left from. As it turns out, police ended up going over, but unfortunately the so-called attendant I saw was long gone. The actual attendant had been tied up behind one of the dumpsters, who was the one I heard screaming for help. He had been shot in the leg and hit in the head with a pipe, leaving him unconscious. This explains why I saw the other man with a gun. God only knows what would have happened had I confronted him or called the police then. However, I have the personality of a wimp at times, so I wasn't about to take him on or do anything stupid. A few weeks later, a couple's car got stolen while getting gas from another station from the next town over. They never got it back. Even while looking for it, I'm still not sure if it was the same guy or not, as crime is slightly high around where I live. What I encountered was possibly one of the worst, if not the worst, incident around where I live. That gas station had been closed for a good week or so before reopening again. It's been months now, and I'm still not sure if police managed to find whoever did this or if he's still out there. The description I gave wasn't as great, seeing as he had on a hoodie while also wearing a mask. This just goes to show you that even the most innocent places can be dangerous, especially at night. Nowadays, I always carry a pocket knife with me whenever I go out at night, just in case me nor my family and go to that gas station anymore due to the sheer paranoia of what happened. Before I begin, I want to point out that there is something very off about my story. This took place around 12 years ago, and it's still one of the most creepiest and unexplainable experiences I've had. I'll try my best to explain my encounter in the best detail as possible. This happened when I was in my late 30s on a road trip with my mom and sister. We had all been driving cross country somewhere in the southern U.S. Looking back, I can't remember what state it was, but if I had to guess, I'd say it was somewhere between Texas and Oklahoma. It was around 11 at night, and I remember we had found ourselves on an interstate that night in need of food and gas. Thankfully, my sister had pointed out that she had seen a sign that had a rest stop up ahead. It seemed to be the only gas station for several miles, so with no other choice, we had to stop there. We pull in, and right off the bat, we see a van full of teenagers and two men standing by a small gray car. We weren't sure as to what it was, but almost immediately something about this place seemed very wrong. My sister and I had went inside the gas station to use the restroom, but the strange part was that there was no gas station attendant anywhere. On our way out, we had overheard the teenagers say that they had felt creeped out and that the gas pump wasn't even working. The teenagers leave in a hurry, but the two men by the car hadn't moved at all, just standing there, not talking, not on their phones, nothing. However, as my sister turned to look at the men, she had claimed to see their eyes being black, dark, and empty. Though both of us get into the car and floored it out of there, and didn't stop until we hit the next city. After we had made it to our destination, we had to look just about everywhere on a map, but couldn't find that gas station anywhere. We had figured that it was maybe due to the fact that it was just too small to be a location in the next city over. We had asked around and told some of the locals about the station on the interstate. We even went out of our way to give them the exact location of it, but only got confused looks. Some people say they didn't know about it, or simply said that there was no gas station there. Overall, it was a really weird experience, and none of us can figure it out till this day. We had been down that interstate since, but had never seen that gas station again. The interstate is a very small 2-lane road, so if there was something there, you would have seen it a few days into our stay. And we had spoken to a guy who had claimed to be a trucker and had told us similar stories. In the end, we had accepted the fact that there was no rest stop there. I still get chills thinking about it till this day. Sometimes I like to think that maybe this was a dream or a deja vu episode. We don't really tell many people about this, as we'd assume most would think we're crazy or lying. Either way, this was and still is one of the most creepiest and unexplainable encounters we've ever experienced, to be honest with you. I'm not really sure what we saw. We even asked more locals about it too. A few months later, we learned that a family had gone missing for nearly a week near the area of the station. They were eventually found, as well as their station wagon. The strange part was that they basically abandoned their car when they were found. They all seemed to be out of it, especially their children. They seemed sort of spacey and fuzzy. As far as we know, everyone is fine now, but I'm starting to believe they saw the same thing. However, up until now, there have been no leads, and that gas station has never been found. Foreign.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. Until the next video, goodbye.